I know my audience will not be happy if I don't ask you this question. Is magic real? They want me to ask it, so I have to ask it.
I'm going to throw it back to you. What do you think magic is? Through life, I think we are living consciously, but it's when we think we know. That's where the problem comes in. When we think we know it all, that's when we stop learning. You have to unlearn to learn. Exactly what it says.
What it says?
Yeah, read it from start to finish.
Okay. Hi, Tupac. I'm writing this a couple minutes before the podcast starts. Here's the thing. You'll feel incredibly intuitive this afternoon, only being off by 2.
Oh my God.
Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Just to Kick It is a Blessing podcast. Welcome to the podcast where it's all about time, where we teach, inspire, motivate, and entertain through the art of storytelling. Today, I have a special guest in studio with me, and as you can see, the set is already different. So without further ado, I will allow him to introduce himself. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. My name is Musau. People know me by Musau The Mentalist.
Yeah.
But you can call me Musau. Okay. My actual name is Kevin Musau.
Okay.
And I'm a mentalist.
Yeah.
Well, I can say I used to be, or I still am, because it's still a part of who I am.
Yeah.
It's more of an identity.
Okay.
And I've been, I can't say I've been a mentalist all my life, but I've grown into becoming a person that thinks in that direction.
Okay.
I know your first question is who is a mentalist or what is a mentalist?
Yes. But even before we go there,
I know
we usually have this thing where we read from the journal.
Yeah.
And we just want to look at today's question for you. And it's interesting that the question matches what we're about to talk about, and it's what lie do you tell yourself most and why?
What lie do I tell myself most and why?
Yeah.
That's a good question. If you got me thinking about this, what I'd say is, that's a deep question.
Okay, we can come back to it.
Let's come back to that question. Let me think about it.
Yeah.
Let me think about it.
No worries.
But off the top of my mind,
Yeah.
honestly speaking,
Yeah.
I don't have a question that I feel like I don't feel like I have something that I'm lying to myself about. Coming this far, I think with life, the way it's taken me, I can say that I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
So I can't really say that I'm lying to myself or I'm not, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And only the future can tell whether I was right or I was wrong.
Right.
And that's the kind of battle I'm actually facing right now, knowing between if what I'm doing is right or if it's wrong. And not just in my art, but in life in general. Yeah.
I think maybe
we'll come back to that, please.
Yeah.
I have to think about it.
I think maybe before we get to who's a mentalist, I think for me a lie that I told myself a lot for a while that I'm now trying to rewire my brain about that was, life will figure itself out.
Yeah.
I don't think life figures itself out. I think you have to be intentional about what you want from life.
That's true.
Yeah. So
That is true.
I used to be like, laser free, that things will work out. You get? But now I'm saying, as much as things do work out, you have to be intentional about things working out. I can't expect to make 100 shots if I only do 100 shots.
That's true.
You get?
That's an interesting perspective, and I like it. You see, I think there are two kinds of will. There's free will and there's God's will.
Yeah.
God's will is already written.
Yeah.
Your path has already been determined from start to finish.
Yeah.
However, that does not mean that you don't have free will.
Yeah.
You see, these two can coincide or coexist together. You have to work towards that plan that God has assigned to you.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'm going to stay in bed all day and expect God to bless you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's the fruits of your own labor. So as much as we do believe and have faith that our journey is already written, we have to understand that our paths, that we create those paths ourselves as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So I agree with. So before I explain to you what a mentalist is, I wrote something about 30 minutes ago as you were setting up the set.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hand this to you during the podcast so that
Yeah.
you can put this in your pocket
Yeah.
and just don't look at it until the end when I ask you to.
Okay.
So I'm going to hand this to you.
Yes.
You have no idea what is written on that piece of paper.
Yeah.
Honestly, do you have any idea?
No, I have no idea what you wrote.
Clueless. You can't even guess. Could you even guess?
I just hope it's not written about my relationships. I don't want to be exposed on my channel. But
Don't worry, you're safe. You're
yes,
safe.
yeah.
Okay, but yeah, we'll check it out later.
Yeah.
So a mentalist. I think for me there are two definitions. One is an art.
Okay.
The other is an identity.
Okay.
For me, I think I'm a bit of both. Before, when I was a child, I loved magic tricks. I loved the idea of fascination of the mind and, just things that blew my mind.
Yeah.
I loved seeing that spark of emotion that people would get when I performed, when I did something impressive. But over time, that fascination kind of faded away.
Yeah.
Because you get so, as a mentalist, you don't realize the kind of joy that the other person's feeling. You can't feel what someone else feels, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So as much as this trick might look so good, to me it's so basic. If that makes sense. So I wanted something more advanced, something that would also fascinate me myself.
Yeah.
And that's why I shifted off magic tricks completely.
Yeah.
Went into the mind entirely and focused on aspects of suggestion, influence, psychology, human behavior, and general body gestures that communicate things to people. And that's why I chose the name Mentalist. So it's not really. I don't know if you've watched the show called The Mentalist.
I've kind of watched a bit. The one for the white guy who sees patterns and things and then discovers. Yeah.
Yes. Was he doing magic tricks? That's a question.
No.
Exactly. It's more of the mind. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with the idea of using a real touch towards the mind in terms of influencing people, but not in some type of manipulation or some way that would cause harm.
Yeah.
But in a way that would fascinate you, that would change your perspective about how you see things. Because sometimes we're so fixed on this little box that we think we know everything when we don't.
Yeah.
And I usually feel so good whenever I perform a trick or something very intriguing to a person who's maybe above me or has a bigger role above me.
Yeah.
And they end up having an insane reaction.
Yeah.
It just proves my point even more that sometimes we don't know everything.
Yeah.
And so I would say a mentalist for me is anybody who has the ability to suggest and influence thoughts in any type of way.
First of all, it's actually also a pleasure to have someone who's presented in front of not just African presidents, but presidents out there, corporates, I've looked at your journey, so it's such an honor to have someone seated here. I know my audience will not be happy if I don't ask you this question. Is magic real? They know, they want me to ask it, so I have to ask it.
I'm going to throw it back to you. What do you think magic is?
There's some things I see. Okay, there was that guy who used to be at Holiday Inn and whatever. His magic wasn't real. We could see what he was doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least you've answered the first question. Okay.
Yeah.
So is there magic you feel like is real?
There's some things that happen. Like I'm a big fan of Britain's Got Talent.
Okay.
And some of the things that happen on that show, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Yeah.
You see, that's the role of a magician.
Yeah.
If they're able to make you question whether something's real or fake, then they actually ace their plan.
Yeah.
Because if you can't defy it using physics or chemistry or any scientific methods.
Yes.
The first thing an African will do will run to, this is inuchawi, this is witchcraft.
Yeah.
When you can't explain something. But I would say magic it's real in the aspect of a magician will tell you that they'll lie to you and they'll do exactly that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're not telling you, it's the whole element of surprise. So I would say it's real because it gives you that essence of reality that...
Yeah.
I don't know if you're really trying to shift towards spirituality in terms of magic, because that's a whole different thing on its own.
I think the conversation can flow as we go.
Yeah. So...
You're the one on the hot seat. You tell us.
Yeah. So, I would say... there are people who actually practice different kinds of spiritual kind of things, and they call it magic.
Yeah.
I don't know much about that field,
Yeah.
but I do know that the spiritual aspect of it is there and it's real.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't get it twisted between the two. It's a very thin line. But yeah, so it is real, and it's also a trick, but depends on where you're coming from, spiritually or in terms of entertainment.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe another question I was curious about is, do you think we're living consciously or reacting based to patterns? Because even when I watch the show The Mentalist, it's him who he picks out patterns and things like that.
Do remember that is a show as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of acting that's happening.
Yes.
But through life, I think we are living consciously, but it's when we think we know. That's where the problem comes in. When we think we know it all, that's when we stop learning. You have to unlearn to learn. And our minds are brilliant, honestly. And coming to think about it, we do more things unconsciously on a daily basis compared to those conscious things we do.
Because that's what I was about to tell you. I was about to give you now. The thing is, there's so many times I've left the office, meant to be driving somewhere else, and end up home.
Or was that unconscious or conscious?
I think it's unconscious.
Okay.
Or what did you think?
I think it's unconscious because, most times we try to multitask our brains into thinking of so many things at the same time, but it's not that simple.
Yeah.
We can only focus on one task at hand.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who can multitask,
Yeah.
but I'm going to speak for myself. I can only focus on one task at hand. If I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to you.
Yeah.
If I'm doing something else, I'm doing something else.
Yeah.
But there are things our eyes see, the subconscious mind. We have the conscious and subconscious mind. When you go into NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, there are things that influence our choices, decisions, our actions.
Yeah.
And that is through what we see, through what we hear, through what we taste. Have you ever tasted food so good that you just smile?
Yeah.
You see, that's a different feel for the body. Then there are sounds that you will hear that will spike or spark an emotion in you.
Yeah.
You have frequencies. You have words. There's certain trigger words that when you hear will drive you towards a certain aspect of your conscious living or your conscious day.
Yeah.
So I'd say we are living consciously, but we are unconscious of what's really going on around us, the things that we cannot see. And that includes music, pictures. Our minds visualize pictures more compared to
anything else.
To sounds. And yeah. Think about it like daydreaming. Have you ever been consciously daydreaming, or is it usually unconscious when you daydream? Even just right now, if you look at your eye movements, you're trying to focus on a pinpoint, a section of your mind. It's in your mind, but you're trying to look at a specific part.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about when I last daydreamed, and was I consciously living it, or was I unconsciously living it?
You see, with daydreaming, you are unconsciously doing it because it happens when you least expect. Now, I think that's how we operate on a daily basis, but we're not aware. And we think that that's conscious living. I hope I'm not confusing you.
No, you're not confusing me. I'm just now trying to think about all those other things.
And it's hard.
Yes.
You can't think of all the instances. It happens. You go into your house, you put your key somewhere, but you do it unconsciously.
Yes. Or you remove your shoes in a certain way.
In a certain way, unconsciously, or the way you walk. You can't control the way you walk. It's just like a baby learning how to walk. I think it's unconscious. Do you know how you're walking, or can you control how you walk? Or does it just happen?
No, you just walk.
It just happens.
Yeah.
But funny thing is, everybody has a different walking style.
That's true.
So I think we all have our unconscious minds that are different in perspectives, but are similar in the point of we are living unconsciously, majorly, with our minds.
So if we're living unconsciously, or a lot of life is really happening like that, so how important is attention then?
I think attention plays a huge role in everything.
Yeah.
You see, attention goes into how you speak with people. How do you listen to people? Are you a listener? Are you a talker? Do you pay attention to detail? I think people who are very attentive to aspects of the unconscious side are very good with communication, I can say. I won't. It also has its disadvantages. I'm gonna bring them out.
Yeah.
But being consciously aware has its ups and downs all the time. Because sometimes people think that you might be looking too much into them, or overanalyzing, or watching too much, or but you're just in your thoughts, and you just want to be aware of what you're thinking. At the same time, I think it's a superpower. It's an awesome thing to have, being attentive. Because let me ask you a random question.
Yes.
If I asked you to tell me what was right behind you, what would you tell me? Anything that's the nearest thing behind you.
The nearest thing behind me.
Yes.
Honestly, I wouldn't have known, but because you asked several times about it, I think I have an idea.
You have an idea.
It was the shelf that you're interested in trying to put into the set.
Okay.
But it's only because you asked several times.
I get that.
If you, yeah.
And what's the color of the wall behind you?
Okay, that I kind of know because of the podcast.
Just go ahead and tell me. It's
Cream.
Okay. It's cream.
Yeah.
How many switches are at the back?
I know there's the one for the left too.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I like that. So you're an attentive person, I can tell.
Not too much, but
Okay.
because I'm here every day, I've started to pick up those patterns and signs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a lot of things that go over my head. Like there'll be something that can happen in the house, and then I'll only realize like
Afterwards.
a long later than I should have realized. Yeah.
And that's not a problem. That's the thing. It's not a problem. I just think being attentive has its ups and downs, and mostly ups. But it does affect your relationships with people. It does, because you pay attention to detail.
Yeah.
And I think being a mentalist, I have no choice but to be attentive. And that's why I'm speaking from a point of, I've seen the disadvantages of being a mentalist and the advantages. Because my mind is always working, it's always running, it's always thinking. I can't stop my mind from thinking. Like my mind can never just go blank. So usually I listen to music to either
Calm you down.
calm my mind. I
Yes.
might be calm, but my mind is just running.
Running it.
A million miles per hour, yeah.
I might not be a mentalist, but I also feel like my mind runs. You get?
I could tell.
Like even from you sitting here, have you seen like how many tasks I've tried to handle
Yep.
at once?
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But let's see also how attentive you are.
Okay, go ahead.
Above you, what color is the roof?
The roof.
Yeah, there's
That's
a
it.
space.
There's a green wall behind me. I know there's a plant.
Yeah.
Go up the wall. Is it brownish? I don't know.
No.
Brown?
No.
Are you talking about the roof?
The roof.
It's not brown.
No, it's not brown.
Is it gray?
I don't know what color this is, but there's a unique aspect of the roof. I thought about the light.
I do not know. I did not pay attention to that.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
I did not pay attention to that.
Okay.
Okay. But so what color is it? Is it
The white light.
the white light?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you meant the color of the roof. Okay.
No, even I've never known the color of the roof. I've just looked today.
Just now, huh?
Yeah, just looked today. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah. I guess, yeah. I think our minds are just interesting tools that we need to. And you see, for me, the thing is, it's not just about the mind. I used to think that I knew everything. I used to think that being a mentalist, I could figure everything out. But I came to reality that I didn't. And it's only until I understood that I didn't know and then that's when I realized that I know because I don't know.
No. Okay.
I know because I do not know, if that makes sense.
It's very interesting because the person who came today before you
Yeah.
spoke about the same thing. He spoke, if there's one thing that he picked up or he learned from rehab and therapy, was unlearning what he thought he had learned. He says
true.
that was the greatest effect that rehab and therapy had on him.
Oh, I believe him.
You get?
I believe him.
But even to just echo what you said is, I thought as a bright person, because my grades were always good, that I'd figured out life. But it's only until recently I realized this. I was book smart, but not life smart. And as much as I'd passed in some of the greatest tests in my life, I was failing in one of the biggest ones in my life, which was life in itself. And so that really broke me and forced me down to go and rethink my life.
And how long did that take? Is it still going on? Do you feel like you're still rethinking your life, or?
I think for the better start of this year, that was what happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it tough?
It was tough because sometimes life breaks you to a point and you think and say, okay, wow, what's going on here, And you know some of the things that you were doing that were wrong. You get like the over partying, which took a lot of time from my life. And so I was looking at people around me progressing, but I felt stuck. So it was in that. And then also felt I wasn't living in alignment to what I was called on earth to do.
That's so interesting. You said
Yeah.
that. I shared a story yesterday evening, and you didn't actually see it. That's interesting. It was about an observation I made.
Yeah.
When you look outside and you look up at the sky, what do you see usually?
The sky.
Yeah.
I see a blue sky with white clouds.
Okay, a blue sky with white clouds.
Yeah.
I would say when I look up at the sky, I would see birds. And this one time I was looking at a bird. It's the bird flying.
Yeah.
And on the other side, there was an aeroplane flying. And I asked myself, what's the difference between these two?
Okay.
This bird and the aeroplane.
Yeah.
See, the bird was created to fly. But the airplane was designed or manufactured to fly. Which means that the airplane needs maintenance for it to fly. But the bird that was created to fly just flies.
That is tough.
Right?
Yeah.
So what if in our lives
Yeah.
we are constantly trying to be the airplane, yet we were created to fly? We already have, do you see birds going to refill their gas?
No.
Do you see birds?
Maintenance, no.
No, they just fly.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we should be as God's creation. We would have been, the only difference I see right now between us and animals is that we are not living the same life they did in the garden. Because they are still living the same life, the birds of the air.
Yeah.
As they were created, still they are as they are. While for us, we are trying to create narratives about ourselves, stories. We're trying to create our pathways. We're trying to become people who we're not. Sometimes we're trying to, and it's when you stop fighting with yourself, because it's not supposed to be a fight. Just fly. And that fighting comes through self-condemnation.
Yeah.
When you feel like you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
That's the maintenance part that the airplanes have to go through.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I need a drug to calm me down.
Yeah.
But is it really helping, or is it just masking? So I don't know. That's so interesting, because I think you're at a point in life where you're figuring out life through what you were created to be.
Yeah.
Not what society is trying to force you to be.
Yeah.
And that's
or what I thought
exactly
I wanted to be, because when I also looked at it is my goals in my life were very selfish. Yes, it was always to uplift me, and that's why a lot of things failed, because they were not built on solid foundation. So now I'm trying to understand is exactly what you're saying is the blood flies because it relies on God
to fly.
You get?
Oh yeah, the birds of the air.
You get? But the aeroplane, why it crashes is because its reliance is on itself.
On itself. Oh my goodness. Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
And it's a tough fight. But that's the thing. Not many people go through the fight.
Yeah.
Even the people who you may think have gone through it, you're not even sure if they have.
Yeah.
The battle you're fighting right now may be the battle they might be fighting 5 years to come.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And
all our journeys are unique.
Every single one. And I have a question for you. Yes. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm going to give you two scenarios. Let's say you were at a zebra crossing, about to cross the road.
Yeah.
The lights are red. There's a guy who's next to you who's on a bicycle. The guy on the bicycle decides to cross the road before the light turns green. But he has faith that he will not get hit by a car.
Yeah.
He crosses the road. He makes it through.
Yeah.
You, however, who wants to follow the law,
yeah,
waits for the light to turn green and you cross.
Yeah.
But then a car hits you.
Yeah.
I'll give you a different situation now.
Yeah.
Swap roles.
Yeah.
Let's say you had faith
that
you would not get hit by a car. And you cross the road when the light has not turned green. While the person on the bike crosses the road when the light turns green. And the person on the bike is the one who gets knocked down. What determines who was right or who was wrong in that situation?
I think it's you. Yes.
So would you say that...
I don't think it's you. I think, not you, I think it could be the person who hits. Yes. Because if
variables.
you get, yeah.
There you go.
But variables. But yeah, I'd say it's the person who hates because actually all of us could be wrong.
Thank you. We could all be wrong. So there's no right answer there, right? Does that make sense?
What a trick question.
It's a trick question.
Yes.
But it gets you thinking, because that's how life is right now.
Yeah. Many truths can coexist.
They could coexist. That's what I was telling you. Free will and God's will should coexist together.
Yeah.
Because God gave us free will.
Yeah.
Because he wants our love not out of being forced.
Yeah.
He wants you to give it to him wholeheartedly.
Yes.
And I think most people don't understand that kind of love because maybe most of us didn't receive that kind of love. So you don't know what that means. But I think it's a feeling that once you feel, you can't
Go back.
You can't go back.
Yeah.
What's an illusion that
About how we think, once seen cannot be unseen.
I think the first answer that comes to mind is God.
Yeah.
Once you see God, once you receive him, you can't go back.
Yeah.
I mean, that does not mean you won't fall, but your whole mindset changes instantly. And I like looking back to this verse, Romans 12:2. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
And, bro, crazy. I just want to read this for you. Yes?
What?
Bro, man.
What?
Oh, bro, this is actually crazy how the world works, yeah? So, just scrolling on my phone. I just want to read this to you, yes, yeah? So, literally Wednesday, 8:36, yeah? 8:36. My pastor, yeah? Not my pastor, but like a very spiritual leader in my life, yes? She's called Apostle Angie. She sends me, mindset shift, Romans 12:2.
Are you being serious?
No, bro, have a look. I'm not capping to you. Wednesday, 8:36. We're talking about something, and then she tells me exactly that.
There you go. When we say everything's not connected, everything is connected. And this is not me. And look at the time. It's 2:22. I'm not one with time, but I
Yes.
just feel like nothing is random in this world.
Yeah.
Everything was created by God's design.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. The moment you understand, we can't understand God,
Yeah.
but we can love him and know who he is through what he has revealed himself to be.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, back to your question. What's the biggest illusion?
Yeah.
That I feel like,
You said God.
yes, I feel like we've been trapped in this box. After I read the Bible, when I did CRE in school, I did Christian religious education.
Yeah.
I thought I knew the Bible. But it's only until later in life when I actually started to do deep studying into the Bible that I was like, what the heck was I being taught in school?
Yeah.
This is not what
The Bible is about.
it's about.
Yeah.
It's like a whole puzzle piece.
Yeah. So recently, I did a program. It's called Purpose and Leadership Forum. It's taught by the same lady, Apostle Angie.
Okay.
And one thing it did was it made me take spirituality a lot more seriously.
Okay.
Yes, I'd been a Christian and I fully believe in God, but I think my belief was only surface level. Now, what that opened my eyes to see, and now what everything is happening is around, is it's now deepened that understanding of what God is and how the world is connected. So I'll even tell you the funniest thing happened the other day is, so the whole week I'd been thinking about something, yeah?
Okay.
And then on Saturday, we sit down, my dad, my brother, and I, and we're having dinner. And I tell my brother about this revelation that I had, yeah? And my brother was like, Tupac, on Thursday before I left for golf, I'd written to you a text saying, hi, Tupac, I think you should do X, Y, and Z because I believe right now in your life it'll be very important for you. That text he was about to send, then he's like, now maybe I should just have this conversation with him in person, was exactly what had been going through that whole week. So I was like, so when I was having the conversation with him, it was a very serious conversation, but he was laughing and I'm like, yo, why are you laughing? And he's like, because what you're telling me is crazy because I promise you I'd written a text to you on Thursday that I did not send. And it is exactly in the words that you're telling me. And I was like, wow. Like, this connectivity and spirituality thing is way more serious than we understand.
It is. It is. And that's the thing. We can only try to understand.
Yes.
We can only try. But yeah, so what if you called yourself a mentalist in that scenario, would that change the situation?
No.
It wouldn't.
Yeah.
Now, that's the kind of battle I've been having with me being a mentalist.
Okay.
I want to give you a message that's deep.
Okay.
And that makes sense. However, you're associating it with an illusion or a trick when that's not the reality, or that's not the case.
Yeah.
So I would say that actually that's a whole different story as to why I stopped performing as much. But yeah. So, in fact, I'm looking towards setting up a platform where people can speak openly, share their perspectives.
Yeah.
And I'll be co-leading the session.
The conversation.
But I want to create a space for people to speak.
Okay.
Speak their minds, because I think all these thoughts we have, they don't have to stay in our brains.
Wow.
They can be communicated. One word of wisdom from you could change somebody's life.
Forever.
And, you know.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
You had once mentioned that you built Musau The Mentalist out of loneliness. What did you mean by that? Maybe you can let us know about a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I went to boarding school at a very young age. I think I don't remember my age, but I remember from class 1 I was in boarding school.
Well, you're the second person for us to talk that went to boarding school at a young age but has become such a remarkable person that I look up to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I used to spend a lot of time by myself. And I would hang out around the older kids.
Yeah.
From 1s, from 2s, from 3s, from 4s.
Yeah.
Those are the guys who I could hang out with at boarding school, because everybody else went home after lunch break. Yeah. So in that time, I would just be in my thoughts all the time, just trying to create something that would spark my joy in some way.
Yeah.
At first, it started with music. I loved music. I didn't drop it off, but I carried it with me. It's when I discovered the art of fascination. That's when I created this persona called Musau The Mentalist.
Yeah.
But not at that age. This was later on after the years. It was a means of protecting myself. I couldn't speak on stage at a young age. I couldn't. I was scared of speak. I couldn't even speak. I used to stammer a lot. That's one thing for sure. And I realized I still kind of stammer, but from far. I notice it sometimes.
Yeah. Maybe just in your thoughts, but anyways.
But I do, and I used to.
Yeah.
And it's until I built this persona, this identity, that when I would go on stage, I can speak to thousands. I could speak to a couple thousands, actually.
Yeah.
Comfortably.
I've watched the TikToks.
Yeah, and it's not just about speaking. It's about creating an effect that it's going to move a whole crowd at the same time. And that's not something simple to do, because one mistake on stage and your act goes south.
Yeah.
So I think out of that loneliness, I built this protection for myself. That was an idea or a concept I had of myself. I think it's still the same person. I'm still the same person.
Yeah.
But I had to trick my mind into believing that I could speak in front of people. And my body just started adjusting to it. It's like it had no choice but to adjust. So my stage fright faded away. And
it's interesting because even doctors, there's something I was reading, and a doctor was saying they know if a patient is going to survive by their willingness. Yeah, the people who tell the doctors, I'm gonna get out of this, and they believe it and they constantly speak it. End up walking out of it. While the people who, when they give up, and your mind it's such a powerful tool.
Very powerful.
Because it can become your reality. What you believe about the world and yourself,
it does become your reality.
It does become your reality. Not it can, it does actually become your reality.
And there are a lot of times, even people who create fake memories from childhood, and they end up believing that these things happened.
Yes.
And they can actually replay these things in their minds and convince themselves that this happened when I was a child.
Yeah.
And I think there are two kinds of people. There are people who are go-getters, and there are people who are survivors. Go-getters could be survivors. I don't think the other way around. However, I think a lot of people, we base our lives on our past experiences, our traumas, our experiences, our truths from what we experienced back in the day.
Yeah.
They shape us to become the person we are. Sometimes we become beaver. I'm a beaver. And I did this psychological test
Yeah.
to see what kind of animal
Yeah.
I would relate with.
Yeah.
And I ended up being a beaver.
Okay.
Just because of being too, what do you call it?
Too?
Self-contained, humble, and just easygoing. I'm not too fierce with anybody, or like I'm very slow to anger. That's one thing for sure. But that doesn't mean I didn't go through it. I didn't have difficult times. I did.
Yeah.
But I was so much in survival mode that I had to stop. I had to become a go-getter for myself. And that's where the shift happened.
Okay.
Musau The Mentalist.
When did you feel like that persona started now becoming a limitation more than a gift?
I think after experience, after traveling the world, after being on all these global stages,
Yeah.
I realized it wasn't about the money. That was not my joy. I mean, the money was good,
Yeah.
fine, but that was not, my joy was not in that. And it had gotten to a point where being a mentalist started affecting my relationships with people.
Okay.
I would become too observant or too analytical of things.
Yeah.
So even these days, I just have to stop myself from thinking. Like I have to say stop. It's like it's like a superpower that it just goes on. I don't know. But yeah, so it became a limitation after I started seeing the side effects of being too much in your mind could do.
Okay.
Not just to me, but to other people.
Yeah.
Because I used to think that I was right. That's the thing. And that's where the deception was.
Don't worry, I've had the same deception as well.
Yeah. And that's why I'm letting you know that
You think you're right and you think it's the highway or your...
Yes.
What do they say? It's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
I get it.
But yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of A students struggle to start successful companies, is because you have no other way to see things, because when you look at it, some of the most successful companies have always been started by the C and whatever, because they're not scared to fail. They're not scared to see things in a different way. But how some of us, our brains operate is, we know 2 + 2 is 4. But a guy can say, if I put this 2 and 2, how can it be 22?
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Why have you created that stereotype?
I don't know
specifically.
I don't know if it's a stereotype. I think it's something I've seen a lot. Like, it's research that I've come across and I've seen. I think there's a shift that's happening now, I think, with the evolvement of technology and AI. But recently, if we look at the previous top companies, they were always started by those kind of people.
Okay, but I did not know that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some research.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting point. Maybe it's because, it's the fact that I can't even say that I can't even create that kind of a comparison.
Yeah.
Because if I would, I would be doing it without facts.
That's true.
So I'd just rather say I do not know.
You do.
But I will look into that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Now, another interesting thing that I've been looking at and I came across was, and it's crazy, these statistics that I saw, was the cost of the absent father. Yeah. So the one that I saw was like 1 out of 3 homes are being raised without a father. Yeah. And so 1 out of 3 women are raising children without a father. And this is having a ripple effect on societies, because now from that is they're saying 7 out of 10 inmates are linked to an absent father. 63% of suicides are linked to that as well. And they're saying that when that absence is also created, there's a chance that the child might not perform as well as they did in school, and then that further affects economic opportunities. And it further goes, it's not just on the boy it's having an effect, it's even on the girl. And it's also saying that 5 times more likely to continue the cycle of raising a child outside a marriage, and even 7 times more likely to fall into teenage pregnancy. So even when I look at stats like that, is that, I thought, or what we'd assume that would happen is, if someone is absent, they wouldn't go and be absent. But how is it that the mind works that we become some of the things that we fear the most?
Because we don't know anything else other than that.
Yeah,
That's what our mind has been trained to understand.
And look at normal, because it's the same thing with abuse. I thought if you'd see your parents, whether it's your dad abuse your mom or your mom abuse your dad, like it passes on to the child. And I thought because it's something that scared one so much that you'd turn away from it, but it's like it's your mind picks that up and it becomes automatic.
And sometimes it's not the truth. That's the worst part. Sometimes we don't really know what's going on with our parents. We don't know if it was abusive. We don't know if it was one-sided. Unless you can actually guarantee the fact that the father was an abusive person in the family.
Yeah.
With proof, I think that's the box we have to break out of.
Yeah.
Because those were their lives. These are our lives. We shouldn't be living other people's lives. And I think subconsciously we carry those things into our behaviors.
That's true. I was shocked to see that trauma is genetical and can pass on.
Oh no, I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah.
Trauma is
Genetic.
It's genetic. It
And
can be
it can
passed down.
pass on. If it's not dealt with enough, it passes on.
Okay.
And, as much, because I've become interested in the space of the boy child and what the men are going through and everything.
Yeah.
And in some of these things, it's like people are saying some of the things one is dealing with are not even things that are their battles that they were facing. It's someone who just didn't heal from that didn't heal from that didn't heal from that, and it now becomes generational.
Generational.
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard you.
Yeah.
That's an interesting perspective. Okay, I didn't know it was genetic. I personally thought trauma is based off memories we store in our minds, and it just takes one trigger to spark it.
Yeah.
Just one trigger. It can be a color, it can be a sound, it can be something. And I think our egos, everybody has an ego.
Yeah.
That pride is always there somehow, trying to tell you that you're right in your ways.
Yeah.
You're right in your ways.
Yeah.
And I would say you have to go through healing, but what is healing? What is that? People talk about healing. You have to heal. It's being thrown around like it's just a casual word. But the amount of work that goes into that is intense. And you have to be willing
to go through that intensity.
Yeah, you have to get to that breaking point where your mind is like, okay, something needs to change.
Yeah. And when I say that, is one of my friends actually went for therapy with her mom. And eventually after a few sessions, when she was telling the therapist what happened, the mom actually broke down and told her, I feel like these are things that I never really resolved in my life, and they've passed on to you. Because they had never had this conversation as mom and child, but as the more as she spoke, and the mom and her actually broke down that day and cried and apologized to each other.
And that made a difference.
Yes.
Can you imagine that's a whole period of trauma just gone, just from one conversation?
Yes.
I think it all comes down to understanding each other.
Yeah.
Once we are willing to have this space to listen to each other, we can get through anything.
Yeah.
There's this Swedish proverb. It says, shared joy is double the joy. Shared sorrow is half the sorrow. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Shared joy is double the joy. Shared sorrow is half the sorrow. Now, when it comes to the sorrow, sometimes we end up carrying that sorrow on behalf of two parties. One person in a relationship is carrying the weight when you're not supposed to be carrying that weight. Where is the weight supposed to be?
Distributed.
No.
Disappeared.
No.
Huh?
It's a very... Where are you supposed to cast your burdens?
To God. Yeah.
If we live we share our joy and experiences together.
Yeah.
We have double the happiness, double the joy.
Yes.
Love multiplies.
Yes.
Love is never ending.
Yeah. And your real friends, if you tell them something that has happened well in your life, they'll be happy for you.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah. And I think even arguments should be done out of love. If two people are in a relationship, for example,
Yeah.
the argument should not be in between. It should be something they are addressing together, not apart.
Yeah.
Because when you're apart, that's when you're addressing each other rather than the problem itself.
Yeah. In fact, one of the podcasts we did here with a couple, they said one of the things they learned in therapy was there's the wife, there's the husband, then there's the issue.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But most people make the issue the other person.
The other person. Yeah. Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But now back to you. And I know you're in this process of transition and everything. So how are you moving from who you were to now who you're becoming?
For me, I'll say the biggest change that I've made is my spiritual relationship with God.
Okay.
I did have a good relationship with Him. However, I didn't go as deep into studying the Bible, studying the Word, taking time to go to church.
Yeah.
But it's when that happened that my whole life perspective just changed. What mattered, what I thought mattered, didn't matter anymore. It's like you see a reflection of yourself. They call that self-reflection.
Yeah.
But we're made in God's image. God is pure.
Yeah.
He's loving.
Yes.
He gives us all the fruits of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Why not have those fruits through what you do? And for me, it's just been in giving back to people in whatever capacity I can, whether it's speaking to them, whether it's sharing, whether it's giving money, it doesn't matter. But it's through those acts that you're able to change, because change comes with actual changes that you're gonna make. Like, if you wake up on the left side of the bed, wake up on the right. The small changes make a difference. Brush your teeth with your left hand if you're a right-handed person. Just see.
I actually saw that thing about trying to brush yourself, because it activates another certain part of your brain.
You see, it tricks your mind because your mind is already used to a certain pattern.
Yeah.
And it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Why not make it uncomfortable by... Like, I never played guitar. I just grabbed a guitar the other day, I went and bought one and said, I'm going to learn guitar. But I always thought I could never play it.
Yeah.
And here I am on like lesson 40 and I'm doing so well.
Well,
And I'm like, what else have I limited myself to?
thinking you can't do.
Yeah. And maybe I can. And that's the shift that's happened with me. It's not just about being a mentalist or tricks. My tricks are not just about popping up and making things disappear. It's about creating a story.
Yeah.
A story that relates with you somehow, emotionally, physically, spiritually, somehow. And mentalism for me is a tool to show you that. Because sometimes it's very difficult to explain to people what you're doing. And sometimes I even think that maybe that's why Jesus used parables. The only way to get people to understand is through a story.
Yeah.
Create
The parables.
yeah.
When I read your thing, I also saw something about self-condemnation. Where did that voice come from?
See, self-condemnation comes from the enemy. That's not from God. God is not here to condemn you.
Yeah.
God was never there to condemn you.
Okay.
He was there to save you. You know, sometimes we don't understand the meaning of save. And it's the simple words that we think we know the meaning to, but we do not. Salvation.
Yeah.
It's you're being saved from something. You're not being saved towards something. You're being saved from something.
Okay.
And what are we being saved from?
Yeah.
Condemnation, damnation, a separation from God. That's what we're being saved from. It's, I think after reading the Bible for a while now, I've seen some inner meanings to things that I didn't see before.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that every one of us, God is calling every single one of us to His kingdom.
Yeah.
And He already preset this from beginning of time. From even before the world began, God had a plan for humanity. A salvation plan, a creation plan, everything was put in place.
Yeah.
If I can go deep into this.
No, continue.
But it's the fact that we think we're not enough.
Yeah.
That's a self-condemnation. We think that because of something we've committed, of something we've done, we are far from Him. We are very far from Him. when that's not the case. That's what the enemy wants you to believe.
Yes.
And that self-condemnation does what? It just pushes you farther away from God.
Yeah.
Pushes you, not the other way around, not pushes God
Further from you.
It's you.
Yeah.
Pushes you farther away from God. God is trying to approach you, but you're running away from him.
Yeah.
Just like in the Garden of Eden, when they ate from the fruit.
Yeah.
And God asked them, "Where are you?" Is it that God did not know where they were? What did they do?
They hid.
They hid.
Yeah.
And you think about it and you realize it's us. We're condemning ourselves before even God.
Yeah.
And God is not there to condemn us. And then we hide. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's a battle everybody's going to be facing somehow. I think that's how life is right now. That's the world we've been created in. We do have a purpose, but it's just so unfortunate that we live in a world full of sin.
Yeah. So now for someone who's walking that journey, maybe there's someone that's listening to this podcast and they're saying, look, I'm also in the same position. What's the first step that someone can take to walk out of that self-condemnation area of their life?
I'll give you a Bible verse.
Yeah.
This Bible verse was from, I always write my notes.
Yeah.
I love journaling. I love reading the Bible. So I'm going to share this verse with you.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
It really helped me. It just gives you a revelation as to what, give me a second, should be here. Yes, here it is. Therefore, this is from the book of Colossians 2:16-23. Actually, let me start with this one. Colossians 2:13-15.
Yeah.
When you were dead in your sins,
Yeah.
in the uncircumcision of your flesh, God made you alive with Christ. He forgave us all our sins, having cancelled the charge of our legal indebtedness, which stood against us and condemned us. He has taken it away, nailing it to the cross, and having disarmed the powers and authorities, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross. Therefore, do not let anyone judge you by what you eat or drink, or with regard to a religious festival, a new moon celebration, or a Sabbath day. These are shadow of the things that were to come. The reality, however, is found in Christ. Do not let anyone who delights in false humility and the worship of angels disqualify you.
Yeah.
You see, this is speaking to you as a person to not feel self-condemned. It's like God is literally trying to reach out to you, let you know that I still want you as you are. Come as you are. And we have to understand that ourselves. It's that accepting that we are God's and that he has a salvation plan for us and that we're already saved through his blood. We are justified. I think we're just waiting to be glorified in his name at the end of time.
Okay.
You know the three, yeah? Sanctification, justification, and glorification.
Okay.
So we know where our home is.
Yeah.
Every single one of us. That's what we should know. And that's heaven.
So as you walk through this journey of transitioning,
maybe
what's one of the hardest things you're struggling to let go of? Or what's
I would say it's my attachment to things. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Because I react emotionally a lot more. And once I'm able to get a check of my emotions, I think everything will get easier for me. That's one. Because I don't know. That's what I would say. I think getting control of my own emotions. Because I also condemn myself too much. That what I'm doing is wrong. What I should stop performing. I should stop working. I should stop doing all these things.
Yeah.
But was that God's voice really? And just to stop condemning myself. That's what I tell myself each day. Just go easy on yourself.
When I sit here and I listen to you and look at your journey, you sound like someone who's aware of his past and also trying to confront his past and learn from it. But there are people who run away and shy from that. What do you think is the cost of that?
I think we can avoid things, but that doesn't mean they're gone. They're still going to be there.
Yeah.
Some people will end up living the rest of their lives avoiding it.
Yeah.
And maybe it worked for them. There are some who have to deal with it for them to go on with life. And that's the thing. I can't say one is wrong, one is right in that case, because maybe avoiding worked for somebody else maybe it didn't. But just love yourself. That's what I can say. Before your problems, love yourself. Don't love your problems more than you love yourself, if that makes sense. Because sometimes we focus too much on the problems. We forget about ourselves. You forget about eating. You forget about keeping healthy, staying fit.
Yeah.
All at the same time trying to tackle this problem. You end up losing your friendships. You end up losing your marriages. You end up losing all these things because you're so focused on, hyper fixated on solving this issue that life is going on, and
But you'll be left behind.
and that's the thing. That's what the devil wants to do.
Yeah.
Distract you from what you're supposed to be focusing on.
Yeah.
You focus so much on fixing a problem when maybe if your mind wasn't even there in the first place, it would not have been in your mind. Out of sight, out of mind.
You know, the other day, something I came across that was really interesting is, I've always been the guy who will say, promote self-love, promote self-love, promote self-love. But then I didn't understand what it was. And then I realized that, first of all, you can't squeeze from an empty orange, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. But the most interesting thing was, it's even like the Bible, love yourself as
Others.
you get. So it says you can only love others to the capacity you love yourself.
That's true.
And so if no love for yourself exists, then you're lying to people that you love them.
Exactly. That's true. That's true, actually. That's true.
So especially for someone who's had such a turbulent relationship with myself, I was looking at the relationship I've been in. I was like, how could I proclaim to love someone so much if I myself did not,
That's true. And only to some capacity.
Okay.
Because it gets to a point where you love yourself too much, that becomes pride.
Okay, true. Yeah.
It's a very thin line. Like, too much of everything is
bad.
Is bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Just being content. Let me say being content with yourself. Appreciating yourself. Saying kind words to yourself in your mind. Those things, they sound so vague. But the difference they make
They do.
in a day.
Yeah. Talking about kind words to yourself, I read the quote the other day, and it was like, be kind, be careful how you talk to yourself, because there's two people in that conversation. There's the one that's speaking and there's the one that's listening, and both of them are you. And I was like, wow. I was like, okay. Because, you only do the talking, but you forget that there's the other person who's listening.
Oh, yeah.
And both of them are you.
Yeah. They say there's power in the tongue.
Yes.
Yeah. Power in the tongue. And yeah. And I think I realized being alone is not, it's not something, okay, personally.
Yeah.
I feel like I need people. I operate well with people.
Yeah.
Getting a test of different people's perspectives, just like yours right now,
Yeah.
it makes me understand life more to a better capacity. Not of my own understanding, but other people's understandings as well. And right now I'm at a point where I can't even trust my own mindset. Like I can't.
Yeah.
And that's by choice.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have that kind of an ego or a self-presence of thinking that I figured it out, because that's when life changes and you're like, oh man,
I hadn't figured it out.
I hadn't.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so I'll keep learning will go on until the end of my life.
Yes, they say learning is a lifelong. Life is a learning journey.
Lifelong journey.
Yeah.
Yep. We're here. We are blessed. It's a grace that we're on this planet. There are people who are not even in existence.
Yes.
Souls that are not in existence, but you were chosen to be on this planet.
Yeah.
So live the life that you were meant to have on this planet, because there's a different life coming up.
In another.
Not a different planet, but somewhere else.
Yes.
Heaven starts here, man. It's in the mind.
Okay. So I think even before I even get to my next question is, I think we talked about maybe what you felt through your journey.
Yeah.
But what's one highlight that till today stands for you in that journey?
Oh man, traveling.
Yeah.
Traveling was the best part about it.
Yeah.
I never thought, first of all.
Yeah.
Somebody from my close family once told me.
Yeah.
With what you're doing, you're never gonna make it anywhere.
Yeah.
That was their word. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
And I decided to go deeper in, and it's when I booked my flight to Beverly Hills. That's when I realized oh man, I could do what I wanted to do. Like I
Yeah.
could do what I anticipated or wanted myself to become.
Yeah.
And I got there, and the culture there was just so different.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want a culture shocking, it's real. Culture shock is real.
Yes.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I felt like a newborn in a city.
Yeah.
Like clueless.
Yeah.
But the experience there just showed me that I didn't know what more was there to life in terms of what else is out there.
Yeah.
I thought it was just what we see in the movies, but there are people there, amazing people. Oh man, there are the food.
Yeah.
Okay, not all the food, but some of the food
Yeah.
is good. I had Jamaican food. Oh my, I cannot forget that taste.
Yeah.
Jamaican oxtail and some. Oh man,
Yeah.
and that's what it made me want to travel more. And the one thing my art has done for me is allowed me to travel. I don't think I'd have stepped into these spaces if it were not for my art and mentalism and stage performances.
Yeah.
But it just opened so many doors for me. Till now, that's what I'm saying. It felt like a superpower. It's like a gift.
You know, what I look at it and when I see is people are so used to doing the normal things in life.
Yeah.
You know, go to work. Get born, go to school, get a job, get married, get kids, retire, die.
How would you place life then, without any of those? How would you describe life? What would you say you would do?
I think those things are important
Okay.
because they're essential stages in life one must go through. Yes. What I just say is that the path is not the same path for everybody. You get? And I think that's what when the world drew that, is now the path it created and said it's the same for everybody. And that's why sometimes we feel depressed that at 25 we might not have bought the car that we wanted or those kind of things because the life told you, okay, by 40 you should be married. Then you're like, oh man, 40 is around the corner, for those guys. And then you see, so then we start feeling like we're failures based on those set targets and goals.
Very true. Very true.
You look like you have something different you want to say.
No, very true. Because actually, my uncle asked me the other day, why aren't you married? I was like, that's not a question I ever expected to get.
Yeah.
I still thought I was a kid.
Yeah.
But coming to realize, hey, life is I'm not a kid anymore. Hey.
Yes.
But it's true. People have expectations of what
Of
you
you,
should
yes. And
do.
expectations are not bad because expectations help also govern the systems and the things like that. Without them not existing, then systems and structures fail.
True.
What I just say is, you see, you chose something so unconventional and it opened doors for you. And anyone we know that has chosen an unconventional path and that has stuck to them sits and tells us this kind of stories. Not that saying there are people who have chosen the conventional path that don't sit and tell us these stories, but it's people like you now that make the stories,
Different.
crazy or different or inspiring,
Yep, and I don't regret spending more time with my mind than at work.
Yes.
Because that's where everything is designed for me, and I think it's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
One of the other things you said is influence is not dangerous. Unrecognized influence is. What did you mean by that?
Yes, because influence. Think about it.
Yeah.
Jesus had influence, a big influence into what? Saving his people.
Yes.
And that was intentional influence. He came with a purpose. Like it was written from day one.
Yeah.
What he wanted to do. He had to get disciples to spread the gospel as well. Because what influence really mattered. And I look at it that way because, and you said unconscious.
You said unrecognized influence.
Now, unrecognized influence is, I'll give you a demonstration of that. It's when you're not aware of what I'm trying to do to you. That becomes manipulation. That's a very big difference.
Yes.
There's good influence and there's manipulation. Because if I'm able to make you do something I need you to do for the sake of my own benefit, that's manipulation in whatever capacity, whether it's through choosing something, food, whether it's through anything, that is manipulation. Because it's a thin line. Oh my, I wish you knew. and you know, you can be spiritually influenced,
Yeah.
but not in the right way, if that makes sense.
No, even just when I look at influence as a whole, I think one of the strengths I've been given is influence. And I carry that influence so negatively. Yes.
You carry it negatively.
Yes, I influenced people to do
give me
wrong
an example.
things.
Example. Give me an example.
Like, even like when I look at it, my brothers, yes, they drank at young ages because of me. You get? So it was a negative influence I had on their lives. You get? And that's why even in this new chapter or transition of my life is like, how can my life be more positive influence to the people that come across it? Yeah. And even if you go back to the first episode I ever recorded of Just to Kick It Is A Blessing, it was stop looking up to people for the wrong reasons. And it was a young man who sat me down at the Alchemist bar and told me, Tupac, you know, I look up to you so much, you know. And at that point, I didn't even want to be myself. I'd even changed my title on my Instagram to Sad Nigga Chronicles because I was going through such a bad state in my life, you know. And for anyone that would like to know that, they can just listen to the episode. But I was like, okay, so what is this you have? You get? So now as I've grown, I'm starting to understand that I have been blessed with some certain form of influence amongst the people that I am. And I don't want that influence to be destructive. I want it to be constructive. Yeah.
That's why it's a thin line.
Yeah.
It all comes down to your intentions. What are your intentions?
Because I thought it was really cool trying to make my brothers go to the club with me at 16, you know, all those things. But looking back at it, it was...
Did you have a negative motive?
No.
That's the thing. You didn't.
Yeah.
Something happened, but maybe you were too hard on yourself for it. Because even you yourself were not aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
But you're blaming yourself for being aware of it now. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So did anything change with them? Like, did you talk to them afterwards? Did you end up
No.
years later?
I hope they can listen to this one day and they just know now I'm trying to influence them positively.
There you go. Remember, one word could change someone's life.
Yeah.
One word. And I'm glad you got to that point because when you start questioning yourself and your intentions, that's when you become more self-aware of the things you're doing.
Yeah. When you look at it currently, where do you see the most dangerous forms of influence in today's world?
Spiritual. I'm very scared of spiritual influence.
Social media.
Social media is one thing.
Yeah.
But there is, you know, listen, I have to come close to the mic for this.
Yeah, come on.
Social media has influence,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
But that influence is already... It's you know, we're at a point where we cannot recognize AI anymore. Did you know that? AI right now at the moment is at unrecognizable.
Yeah, it's become too good.
Yes, and social media feeds on the validity of your emotions in the present moment of what you're thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
Right now, social media, app or a platform like Instagram and TikTok, uses your eyes to suggest ads to you. Your eyes, not your scrolling, your eyes, just the way your eyes move and pay attention to different words and parts of the screen. You pay attention to a video for more than 3 seconds, it says, this is something he's probably interested in.
Yes.
So I'm going to push something in that direction. Before, it would be something you would like or save. Or things have changed now. And
that's why, sorry to disrupt you,
Go ahead.
but that's why people who tell me their feed is messed up, bro, your feed is messed up because you're showing social media what to send you.
The social media shows you who you are.
Yes.
Right now, your feed
Yeah.
can tell me a lot about you as a person.
Yeah.
And not because I'm just trying to guess or trying to see what fits and what not fits. That's how it's been designed. To build off you as a person, create a persona around you and make that an identity through what you see.
Yeah.
Because it validates you. I'm gonna give you an example. A thief probably has Instagram and TikTok. What do you think they're probably looking at? How to have the best heist, how to pickpocket,
Yeah.
and to them, this is interesting, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
sometimes they're not even self-aware that what they're doing is wrong. They're only thinking about themselves, and maybe they're suffering too much. They need to do something about it.
Yeah.
Survival mode. So social media, I would say, is one of the biggest influences right now, for the good and for the bad at the same time.
Yeah. It's a tool by the.
That's why
and
it's
you
dangerous.
Can choose, you can choose how to use the tool.
Yes,
Yeah.
and there are all kinds of perspectives. Oh man, if there's one thing I don't do is, unless you're biblically telling me, giving me advice from the Bible, from something I can read and study, it's going to be very hard for me to believe you, because that you have your perspectives, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but
Yes.
I don't have to take what you're saying to heart.
Yeah.
And it's so rampant right now, like so bad to the point where it's costing people their lives. It's ruining relationships. It's ruining friendships. Oh, you see a video of maybe a couple doing something and arguing, you send that reel to your partner, just to try and antagonize them because you think they're doing the same thing. But that's not the case.
Poking the bear.
Poking the bear, for what reason? Why not just address it directly with the person? Maybe it's something entirely different. So I'd say social media is the biggest influence right now. And I would say our pastors and preachers have a big influence on us right now, because a lot of people are turning to God. I've noticed a huge change in the number of people who are,
Turning to God.
Yes, getting baptized, turning to God.
There was a decline of Bible sales until 2024. Then they've started to go up.
And that's beautiful.
I saw that statistic and I was like, what?
Yeah. Did you see that guy who was telling people to close the doors of the church? That everybody had to contribute $20 at least, and nobody would leave the church until they contributed. And then you wonder, what's the whole essence of what you were trying to bring about? Are you just trying to raise money, $40,000? I saw this online. I was surprised. And there are people who will believe that because he is a pastor, that what he says is always going to be correct. But you have to remember he's a person as well. And God speaks to everybody at his time. Trust me. There's no person God does not want to speak to.
That's true.
When those curtains ripped in two during the crucifixion, something major happened. A shift happened. Where we could not come close to God. That veil was just ripped apart. And we have direct access to God ourselves. Does that make sense? So nobody should tell you that you can only get to God through them. Just believe that you yourself are worthy enough to be loved and to be heard by God. I just hope people are not spiritually manipulated, because that's something I'm very afraid of in any kind of way. But everybody is taught through the truth. Without any intentions. I may want to just preach so much to you. Just so what? We become friends, just so that what? So that you give more to the church. What happened to actual love? The same love the disciples had when they're preaching to the churches. They preached through jail. And Paul talks about this so much in the Bible. He's like, lucky you, us, who are able to preach in comfort. Like, we're not going through the same hurdles they went through then. Can you imagine that kind of love and dedication towards spreading the gospel? And I think that's what we should go back to. The real love of, oh man, there's a time I tried to get into this Bible, it was a Bible therapy session. But I had to pay for it. I was like, okay, and it was so expensive. I was like, why is it so expensive just to get the word of God in a way that would assist me? Getting a Bible right now online, you have to buy it. Oh, it's subscriptions. This is actually happening. Subscriptions. And everything has been given a price at this point in time, where it's like we've lost touch of humanity and what humanity means, and what it's so sad. Anyway,
I think the price thing maybe is a value thing. I think when you put price, you put value into something. But I also think that, yes, there's an aspect of humanity that has been lost to cost, but deep inside, there's ways to tap into that at no cost if you want. Yes? As much as there's the purchasing and there's the subscriptions, you today, if you said, look, I want to develop a relationship with God, or whatever that exists, you can even be able to go and use your own free AI or your Google to go through that whole process. Yes. Again, it'll just boil down to how intentional are you about that.
I agree with you there. I agree with you.
Yeah.
However, we're not in the same era we were 5 years ago. Things have changed.
Yeah, of course.
These apps, these platforms that try to spread the word of God, a lot of times you'll notice differences in translations. And that's where it gets very sensitive. Because who's to say that this cannot be edited?
Yes.
Or changed?
Yeah,
and it's good to stick with the actual, the physical.
Yeah.
Because
And I like what you've also said about spiritual influence. I think spiritual influence is very important, but it's for one person to go and sit and ask themselves now, what do I agree on this and what do I agree on this? What are the facts on this? What are the facts on that?
and what determines those facts?
You get those. Now it's you to go and do your own work. You get what a lot of us do is we go to school without going home to do homework. You get, does that make sense?
You go to school without going home to do homework.
So you just listen to what the teacher is saying, but you don't go and do your extra work. Yes. And even from school, the kids who always did the extra work were the kids who stood out, were the kids who came and questioned the teacher on certain things. It's the same thing that's happening. Yes.
Okay.
Because, and have you noticed how even like the children of the Gen Zs of these days, you ask them to do something and they're like, why should I do that? I have my friend's little sister, she's always like, why? You get that there needs to be an explanation, and she'll defend her point and you'll defend your point until, So
Yeah.
I think what we maybe need to do as people, yes, is even in what we're being told, we need to go and sit back and say, okay, why are we being told this? Because
test.
and it's interesting because Lent happened the other day, and I was talking to someone and they were saying, oh yeah, we guys, we only fast until Sunday because Sundays we've been allowed to eat. Yeah. Then I'm like, why? Then they're like, oh no, it's because it's what we were told in church. Then I'm like, but to you, does that make sense? Because if you are going to fast for 40 days, shouldn't it be 40 days continuous? If you're doing that, then it's not 40 days continuous. It means you're doing 6 days, then you have a 1 day, then you're doing another 6 days. Of course, accumulative, it'll be 40 days, but it's not 40 days continuous. So if your goal is 40 days continuous, you need to consider that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Good point. I like that. I like how you think. You have an interesting mindset as well. But always remember,
Coming from a mentalist, it's a compliment, so I'll take it.
yes. However,
Yeah.
always remember that all perspectives are different. They're never going to always be the
That's
same.
true, yeah.
As long as you're aware of that,
Yeah.
then, and everybody else is aware of that, I think things get easier. You're able to share experiences.
Yeah.
And because I've just learned a couple of things from you. I'm gonna go check them out.
Yeah. Go. And we can have this again and you can come and debate those points.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
think,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also talked about the truth. Do you think as people we're afraid of the truth, or who will become when we discover the truth?
I think sometimes we are afraid of the truth because of the fear of what will become after knowing the truth. But that's where we go wrong, because that's out of fear. When fear is involved, that's where we start having all kinds of, we create, fear is created. Fear comes about through things you're afraid to experience. Maybe you've not experienced them, maybe you have, but it's a thought. And that thought of knowing the truth, either, that truth is what determines how you feel. Is that truth something good? Is it something bad? How does it make you feel?
Yeah.
And that's where you either generate fear or confidence towards something. Because if I knew, and if I knew deep down, by knowing the truth, I would have more peace of mind.
Yeah.
I would take that
That's,
over the fear of, it's a choice. You choose what you want to, you can choose.
yeah. I think we become so comfortable with the known were scared to go into the unknown.
Always.
And that's where the treasure and value lies. It's hidden because they know most people, they won't pass here. And I think even there's a story of a king who had put some treasure, but he had put a bit of a hurdle around it. And most people created even a route to go around it instead of go through it. You know?
Because they were avoiding the hurdle.
Because they were avoiding the hurdle.
And is that such a bad thing to avoid the hurdle?
It's not a bad thing. And that's where I think wisdom comes, is because wisdom tells you know which hurdles to avoid and know which ones not to avoid. You get? But sometimes I think a lot of us put just an avoidant personality where we avoid everything when some things really need to be addressed. And there's some people who tell you, oh, me, I don't like confrontation. But there are some times where you'll need to have that confrontation.
Have you heard of this verse in the Bible that talks about flee? Flee from sexual immorality.
Yeah.
I'll give you that as an example. What does that mean? Flee. Run.
It means run away.
Avoid. What does that mean? Avoid, right?
Yes, yes.
Run from.
Yes.
Get away from.
Yes.
Because why?
I think, like you said, I think there's so much power in sex. And why they tell you to avoid it is because they understood what that takes, away from someone, or what that, gives. And if you look at a lot of the people who fell in the Bible, or the men that fell, what was one of their biggest weaknesses?
Now that you made me think about it, I'm going to think of who? Solomon?
It was always lust.
Give me 3 examples.
Even the guy who cut his thing,
Samson.
you get. There's always an aspect of
A woman.
Not a woman.
Sexual immorality.
Sexual immorality.
But that was Samson's wife, Delilah.
No, but it's not sexual immorality. It's because someone comes and, okay, I don't know how exactly I can phrase it. I might also need to do some research,
yeah.
before I shoot myself in the foot. But it's a good question. But if you look at it, any great person has been destroyed. And not even just in the Bible, just if you look at it. I don't know how true it is, but like someone told me the other day, is like, if you look at a lot of the previous ministers in regimes who are going through turbulence right now, the woman that they went into the marriage with in that regime is not the woman that they're with now. And that's why their life has gone through turbulence. If you look at the ones that kept that woman, there's a way that their life was structured. And I was given examples. I just don't want to name shame people on the podcast. But I was given, if you look at this minister, and this minister, them, they were struggling, but they left their first wives. But if you look at these guys, they joined politics at the same time. But because they kept that first wife, there's some structure that came with it. Yeah. So what sexual immorality means is, first of all, even in marriage, there's a covenant you have.
It's a covenant,
You get?
exactly.
So the moment you break that covenant, what are you saying and what are you doing? Yeah. Then outside of that covenant, you were asked to, I don't know maybe what exactly it says, but you're asked to wait for the right time for something like that to happen.
Are you talking about Ecclesiastes or time for everything, or
No, like,
specific?
Sexual immorality comes, there's a right time for it to happen, and there's a right way for it to happen, and it's through marriage.
There's no. Let me correct
Okay.
you. There's no right time for sexual immorality.
Not right time, but there's a right way for sex to happen.
You see, okay, that's
Yeah.
that's a whole different topic. If we go into
For
that
another
time,
Yeah.
but it's a benefit that comes with a covenant that you make through God
Yes.
because of the human needs. Even Paul talks about this. He says you don't have to marry, but if you must, please abide by the laws.
Yeah.
Because he even says, the Bible has different kinds of things.
Yeah.
He really talks about it. If you don't have to, if you can avoid it, well and good.
Yes.
But if you can't,
Yeah.
at least abide by the laws that govern it, the covenant.
Yeah. Because it's also powerful. Like, it's the only thing that's able to create a life.
Not just create.
Yes.
You see, when two become one.
Yeah.
Think about that for a moment. Two become one.
Yeah.
In thinking, in how they work through things together. So if if you break that commitment through anything, I think that's where things
Start to shamble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you start blaming God when God already told you from the word go.
Don't do
If you're
this.
going to get into this, remember it's a covenant that you're making.
Yeah.
And a covenant, you see, there's a difference between a covenant and is a covenant and what? A contract.
Yeah.
These days, I think marriages are based on contracts
Yeah.
as compared to covenants.
Yeah.
A covenant is more of a commitment. A commitment is something you're not being forced into. A contract, you have no choice but to.
To force into. Yeah. A covenant is something you choose.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's with God.
Yeah.
A covenant is not just with anybody. So, yeah.
I think before I ask you my last question, maybe what closing remarks do you have before we ask your last question? Any party shots?
Yeah, I would say tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a present. And that's why it's called a gift.
Yeah.
And focus on the now and avoid any kind of, not really avoid, but it will help if you focus more on the present.
Yeah.
It will really help to not overanalyze or overthink or end up in self-condemnation in future. So be strong.
Yeah.
Anybody can get through this. And when I mean this is, I'm speaking as though I'm in your shoes.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to be going through something, whether small or big. Just do not lose hope. And sometimes it can get hard. And nobody understands what you're going through. They can never feel what you're going through. But with God, everything is possible. And yeah, just do not give up and do not condemn yourself towards anything.
Yeah. I think before I ask you the final question, should we now open the piece of paper?
Actually, on that note,
Yeah.
a friend of mine, I met a couple of months ago, I'd say. I asked him a question. There's this one movie I watched. It's called Atomic Blonde. And so I asked him. I wrote down a list of movies, 1 through 100, and I told him, "Hey, could you guess where? If I asked you to guess, could you guess where I placed this movie on the list? Like what number?" And he told me he could try guess.
Yeah.
And he gave me the number. He said 45. And the crazy thing is, when we went down to number 45, the movie Atomic Blonde was there on that list. That thing blew my mind. Man, I wanted to see if it's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to see if you could possibly guess. It's right now. It's on a very different position. You have no idea where it is at all. It's a movie called Atomic Blonde.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna write down here.
Yeah.
Just so we remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me use initials. Atomic Blonde. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if the camera will be able to see this. I do have a list of notes. It's okay. It's okay. If it can't, it's still fine.
You can just try and show it.
What about there won't be like a blah?
I don't know. Just you can test.
Can you test? Okay. Okay, but we'll be audible as well.
Yeah.
So I need you to think of any number 1 through 100. What number comes to your mind? But before you choose this number, make it intentional. Go ahead. Take your time if you want to. First number that comes to your mind, take your time.
Yeah.
You have a number in mind?
Yeah.
What number came to mind? Say it on the mic so everybody can hear you.
The number that came to mind. 88.
88.
Yeah.
Why 88?
I have a special relationship to that number.
Okay, do me a favor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna head over to my. You're gonna help me out here. Where is it? Can you see notes?
Yeah.
Click on that notes.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you can show the camera what you see. Yeah. That's your camera.
Yeah.
So there's a list of notes there.
Okay.
Atomic Blonde. Could you just go to a list called Top 100 Greatest Movies?
Okay, so there's a list. It's your second list. It's written top 100 greatest movies of all time.
Okay, click on that list.
Okay.
What do you see on number 1?
The Wizards of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Okay.
1939.
What about number 5?
Number 5 is Back to the Future, 1985.
Okay. Now scroll down to your number 88.
Okay.
What's there?
88 is The African Queen.
The African Queen.
Yeah.
That's interesting. What's on top of it?
On top of it is Good Will Hunting.
What about before that?
Atomic Blonde.
On what position? Atomic Blonde is on what position?
86.
86. And you said?
88.
88.
Yeah.
So you're only off by 2.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That's impressive.
Could you just open up your note?
My note?
Yeah, I gave it to you before. The note I gave to you.
Okay, let's see. Yeah.
Read out exactly what it says.
What it says.
Yeah, read it from start to finish.
Okay. Hi, Tupac. I'm writing this a couple minutes before the podcast starts. Here's the thing. You'll feel incredibly intuitive this afternoon, only being off by 2. Oh my God.
You see now, let me explain something to you.
Okay, wait. Let me see. Bro.
Only off by 2 from 86. I'm going to show the camera what I'm writing here, just in case.
Yes.
Atomic Blonde was on number 86 instead of 88.
Yes.
88 was your number.
Yeah.
On 88 was the African Queen, yeah?
Yes.
You see, now the thing is, most of the times I'm with people,
Yeah.
playing cards have a story they tell.
Yeah.
A very interesting story. And usually they're court cards. Court cards are like the Jack, the Queen, the King.
Yes.
So from the Jack, I'm going to write this down, from the J to the King, there is one letter that's in between, which is so usually Jack, Queen, King.
Okay, yeah.
So from the Jack to the King,
Yeah.
there's a Queen in the middle.
Yeah.
The Queen has a value. What value is this? 11.
Yes.
A Jack is a 10.
Yes.
Now, here's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
From the Jack to the King,
Yeah.
there's a Queen
Yeah.
with the number 11
Yeah.
as the value of the
The
card.
value, the position, yeah.
Your movie was Atomic Blonde,
Yes.
which was on number 86, and you're only 2 off.
Yes.
So I'm going to take these 2 ones
Yeah.
and put them right there.
Yeah.
Fair enough? And I'm going to take the name of the movie, Atomic Blonde.
Yeah.
So right now we have the Jack to the King, the Queen is there, which is an 11, and the movie is Atomic Blonde.
Yeah.
But look closer.
I can already see the pattern. Oh my God.
Just to kick it
It's a blessing.
is a blessing.
Okay, magic is real.
It is real. Hand me my phone. I'm going to try something with you. This time I'm going to try and see if we can...
Juma, you seen this?
Oh, he's never seen this before. Really? Okay, so you have your phone with you?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to help me out with this.
Bro, don't hack my M-Pesa pin, bro.
No, come on.
No, disturbing you.
We're
Yeah.
not going to do that. How many articles do you think exist on Wikipedia?
How many articles?
Random guess.
Like millions.
Millions.
Yeah.
Give me a number. How many millions?
Articles on Wikipedia. I don't know why I'll say like 3 million.
3 million. Okay,
Yeah.
3M. Head over to your phone, go to Safari, Google, whatever,
Yeah.
and type in how many articles on Wikipedia. Okay.
Let me
Let's
just...
see how close you came. You said 3 million, yeah?
Maybe even more, but anyways.
It's okay. If you're wrong, that's fine. We'll just see how close you came.
How many articles are on Wikipedia?
Fair enough. Let's see. Are there articles there? You should see one article. Just open it up. Let me see.
No, it's short like this.
AI these days. Yeah, just click the first one. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. We can. It'll give us a breakdown.
Yes.
Someone's calling me. Anyway, so are you there? So
Yes.
how many words? How many articles does it say?
It says 7 million.
7 million.
7169797.
Okay, so about 7 million. And how many? And what else does it say?
It says articles in English. Yeah, with an average of approximately 1 1,847 words per article.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is, what time is it? Oh, someone keeps calling me.
We can pause your call.
It's okay. It's all right. So click on visit Wikipedia or something. Is there something like that? Yeah, just click there. It should open up Wikipedia for you.
Yes.
Now on Wikipedia, I need you to think of any article of your choice.
Okay.
Any person in history, a musician, anything. Think of this person. Look him up on Wiki. Oh my goodness! Someone keeps calling me like 5 times.
Yeah.
When you end a call 3 times, at least get the message.
Yes.
So I need you to search this person up on Wikipedia. We're gonna try and come up with an article about this person. So go ahead.
So I'm meant to search a person.
Any person.
Any
can be a
person that
musician, can be an artist, can be anything that stands out.
Okay.
And then we're gonna come up on the article on Wikipedia. Yeah. Let's get an article on this person. Once you're ready, let us know. So it was 7 million.
Yes.
Someone keep this. I'm gonna end this call.
Put flight mode.
Yeah. Okay. Flight mode is, yeah. So now I need you to scroll down the article. Think of any long word in the article. Just choose one, settle your mind, and put your phone down.
Any long word in the article, like
a really long word. Just look for a really long word.
Looking for.
Don't say it. Keep it in your mind.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right. Put your phone away. So not only are you thinking of this person, you're also thinking of a word within the article about this person. Do you see how deep that can go?
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea what you're thinking about right now.
Yeah.
However, just look at me right now, just quick. Think of the word in the article, not the person. Yeah? Think of the first letter of the word. It's not a T, is it? What's the first letter?
R.
That brings me back to, 7 million. Okay. The person you're thinking of right now. Stephen Bartlett.
Yes.
That's who you're thinking of right now?
Yes.
But now you're replaying a word right now in your mind. This is something, because as I was showing you the movies, there's a recommended.
Yes.
It was recommended.
Yes. And you know what's crazy? Yeah? Can I tell you what's crazy?
What's crazy?
What's crazy was, those were not my first 2 options. Because I was like, let me see if I can play with this guy's mind. Yes? So my first option of a name was going to be Barack Obama. Then I'm like, nah. That was the first idea that came into my head. Maybe it was something that he could have planted. So I chucked from Barack Obama and went to Stephen Bartlett. Then I said, so I don't give him a chance. The first word when I scrolled on the thing was numerous. So I'm like, I'm not going to choose numerous because it's the first word that came. Maybe he said something that made me think of numerous. So I chose recommended.
Good one.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Interesting. Don't ask me how that happened.
No, I'm not going to ask you how that
Just
happened.
enjoy it. Enjoy that moment. Enjoy that feeling.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you got to experience something really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes.
Let's play one game of rock, paper, scissors, okay? Let's go. On 3. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay.
On 3, yeah?
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. On shoot. So we go rock, paper, scissors, and you put whatever you want, okay?
Okay.
Let's go.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay. I have rock.
Yeah.
What do you have?
Scissors.
Did I influence you to choose that?
No.
At all? We didn't talk before the podcast at all. I didn't tell you pick scissors before. At any point. Just try to recall. Be honest, yeah.
Trying to think. Did you influence me? Did you talk about anything?
Now you're going to overthink it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You see, this happened way before you even realized.
Uh-huh.
Open your note again.
Okay.
Look at the picture drawn there now.
Do scissors. Okay. Well,
Attention to detail. It's really fun here.
it's interesting because the 8800 is the one that scared me. But anyways, that's a story for another day.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
No problem.
No, yeah, but I don't know if you have any more questions or any more comments.
I don't think I do, honestly. Unless you have a question that maybe
No,
you feel like.
I think it's been an amazing experience, and we look forward to you bringing your show to life. I think yes, if there's a way that people can live outside their minds and create those amazing things that exist in their minds, would be amazing. They always say the graveyard is the richest place on earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe our final question in the question we ask all the guests currently at this moment, what's making you appreciate life? What's making you say just to kick it is a blessing?
I'd say people right now are what are making me appreciate life. I love people interactions. I love people in general. And for me, that statement, just to kick it is a blessing, it carries a whole different analogy for me when I heard it and I saw it.
Yeah.
You see, kicking it means... the first thing that came to mind was kicking the bucket.
Yeah.
First thing that came to mind. That's being honest, that came.
Yeah.
But it's a privilege to be able to live this life, a full life, and kick the bucket at the end of it all. And that's where the blessing is, that we get to live a full life. We get to live God's creation. If you even think about that, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
That how many billion people on this planet?
Like 7. Is it 7 or is it getting to 8 or 7 billion people?
About 7 billion people.
Yeah.
And you're among them. That is a blessing. And I think that's the biggest blessing we could ever
have.
Yeah. And that just to kick it is a blessing.
Yeah.
I think means just to kick it in this life, just to live this life fully is a blessing that we have and we've been grafted and given by God. And we should be grateful for that.
Thank you.
And it's the people that we have around us that make life worth living.
That's true.
Yeah, we're not meant to live alone.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, so.
Thank you so much for gracing this podcast. Thank you so much for sharing your story. As you go along this journey of life and as you continue to discover it, we just pray blessings upon your life. We pray alignment and purpose on your life. So thank you.
Thank you. Likewise for you.
Right.
Likewise.
For those of you tuning in from home, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Just to Kick It is a Blessing podcast. Remember that no matter where you are, no matter what you go through, just to kick it is truly a blessing. Goodbye and see you next week. If a hater come, we are letting you stay. If a demon come for the boom, I ain't singing no weapon.